On June 5, 2024, NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni blasted off from Cape Canaveral aboard Boeing Starliner Spacecraft as part of the Crew Starliner Test CST. This wasn't a regular International Space Station ISS crew like Crew 8 or Crew 9. It was Starliner's first test flight with astronauts. The goal: dock at the ISS, spend 8 days testing systems, and return on Starliner. But instead of 8 days, the astronauts spent over 9 months in space, sparking a political firestorm, with Elon Musk and President Donald Trump weighing in. Were the astronauts purposely abandoned by the Biden administration for political reasons? Did SpaceX swoop in and save the day? Let's see what Elon Musk, Donald Trump, NASA, the astronauts, and even what the astronaut's daughter says. In this video, we'll break down the facts and fiction, using AI to cut through the noise, so you can judge for yourself. On the way to the ISS, Starliner sprang helium leaks. Helium pressurizes the thrusters that steer the spacecraft. Starliner still managed to dock with the ISS on June 6, but the problems grew. NASA and Boeing ran tests through July, finding overheating thrusters and degrading seals. On August 24th, NASA scrapped the return plan. Starliner returned without any astronauts on September 6th, landing in New Mexico. Wilmore and Williams, originally CST astronauts, who were not supposed to be at the ISS for long, were left without their ride back to Earth. Before Wilmore and Williams docked at the ISS in June 2024 aboard Boeing's Starliner, SpaceX's Crew 8 Dragon had been there since March 2024, carrying 4 astronauts for a mission set to end in October. These Crew 8 astronauts worked on the Expedition 71 mission alongside others who came and went on Russian Soyuz spacecraft. In September 2024, Starliner undocked and returned to Earth uncrewed, deemed too risky for the return trip, leaving Wilmore and Williams without their planned return ride. NASA had planned Crew 9's Dragon to launch in September 2024 with 4 new astronauts. Crew 9 would briefly overlap with Crew 8 and then take over with the Soyuz crew for the next 6-month mission rotation, while Crew 8 returned in October on their Dragon. But Starliner's failure upended this. NASA adjusted, launching Crew 9 in September with just 2 astronauts, reserving 2 seats for Wilmore and Williams' return. CST astronauts Wilmore and Williams joined the 6-month Expedition 72 mission to keep the mission fully staffed for science and maintenance. In March 2025, SpaceX's Crew 10 Dragon arrived to relieve Crew 9. After the handoff, Wilmore and Williams returned alongside the Crew 9 pair on the same Dragon that had been docked at the ISS since September 2024. I've put all sources in the description below, but it takes a lot of time and effort to sort through the noise. The only way I can make these videos is with your support. Please like and subscribe so I can continue to make videos like these. Now let's get into some of the controversy and answer specific questions one by one. Did Elon Musk and SpaceX offer to bring the astronauts back earlier? Let's take a look at this clip.
On the issue of whether or not you had offered to send this rocket to space to rescue these astronauts sooner to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I heard somebody earlier today say, in fact, that didn't happen when I believe it did.
No, we definitely offered to return the astronauts earlier. There's no question about that. The astronauts were only supposed to be there for 8 days, and they've been there for almost 10 months. So obviously that doesn't make any sense. SpaceX could have brought the astronauts back after a few months at most, and we made that offer to the Biden administration. It was rejected for political reasons, and that's just a fact.
Elon Musk says we definitely offered to return the astronauts earlier, but notice that instead of answering about specific names, the interviewer asks about such as Biden or Harris. He just says it was offered to the Biden administration. Neither Musk nor SpaceX has provided any proof or even the specific names of anyone they made the offer to. NASA and former astronauts have said they are all unaware of any offer. Musk owns the X platform and uses it extensively to promote his views and agenda, but strangely, as even Grok AI notes, he doesn't post anything in 2024 about an offer to return the astronauts. Musk went all in on politics to support Trump's election in 2024, and it would have been a huge political win for them to talk about the Biden administration's refusal of this offer then. But Musk only starts to talk about this topic in 2025, after Trump was in office. Grok AI concludes that most likely Musk did not make any formal offer in 2024. But even if Musk did make a formal or informal offer, would it have mattered? Let's see in the next few questions. But didn't astronaut Butch Wilmore say that Elon's offer to bring back the astronauts sooner was factual? There are a lot of posts on social media like this one that say so, but many of these posts are edited or taken out of context. Here's the unedited segment of what Butch Wilmore actually said that these social media posts refer to.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for doing this. So my question relates to Elon Musk has said that he made the offer to bring you guys back earlier and that it was denied. My first question is that true? And if so, what would that have looked like? Was he offering to make another flight, push seats on another flight? Could you give us some background there?
I can only say that Mr. Musk, what he says is absolutely factual. We have no information on that, though, whatsoever. What was offered, what was not offered, who it was offered to, how that process went. That's information that we simply don't have. So I believe him. I don't know all those details, and I don't think any of us really can give you the answer that you would be hoping for.
The astronauts are trying to be as non-political as possible after being caught in the middle of a political firestorm. They don't want to call anyone a liar. Butch Wilmore clearly has repeatedly said he has no knowledge of any offer by Musk to return earlier. Did the astronauts want to return earlier, or did they want to stay on the ISS? Here is what Butch Wilmore said.
From my standpoint, politics has not played into this at all. From our standpoint, I think that they would agree. We came up prepared to stay long, even though we planned to stay short. That's what we do in human spaceflight. That's what your nation's human spaceflight program is all about, planning for unknown, unexpected contingencies. And we did that. And that's why we flowed, as Nick said, right into Crew 9 into Expedition 72, as we did. And it was somewhat of a seamless transition because we had planned ahead for it and we were prepared.
And here's what his daughter said.
There was already people up there out on the station. They had to come back and then more people had to come. But since you need a certain amount of people on the station at all times, they couldn't come back with them immediately. They had to stay the duration of a 6-month mission. Now, missions are always 6 months long as of recent years. And no, they're not stuck in a little space capsule. They're on the International Space Station, which is flying 200 miles above the Earth, rotating it. It is a workplace, a laboratory, a home, and it's where astronauts, cosmonauts, all the like go to live and work whenever they go to space. They're kept busy. They've been doing lots of experiments. Last week both the Suni and my dad did a spacewalk where they were helping detach this big box thing. I don't want to get into it, it's confusing, but they did that. They might do another one, and yada yada.
This is what Commander Sunita Williams had to say.
Some people saying you are stuck up there, other people saying that you were abandoned up there. I'm just curious for your take. How do you look at it? Do you feel stuck or abandoned?
You know, I wouldn't characterize it like that. I think, obviously there's a lot of discussion about it. So maybe people could conceive that that's the way we are, but we're not stuck. We're part of a bigger process, right? We're part of an International Space Station crew, and we just happen to be the second two on the crew that came up here. Nick came up here with one other gentleman, and it's usually 4 of us up here for a increment. And so Butch and I extended to go along with that increment per the plan because those spacecraft rotate every 6 months or so.
And Colonel Nick Hague said this.
What have we been up to? I got to tell you, for life on board the space station, we're having a lot of fun. We're laughing every day, and we're doing some really serious scientific research. We're working on materials science research. We're working on, biological research. We're growing plants. We're trying to figure out how to prevent and treat diseases on the ground. And we're also trying to figure out how to grow food so we can go to Mars someday.
Commander Williams, we should also mention over the course of this trip, you have now broken the record for total spacewalking time by a woman astronaut. It's now a total of 62 hours and 6 minutes outside the ship in space. I have to ask, did you know that you broke that record when it happened? And what was that moment like?
Not really. When you're on a spacewalk, you're pretty intense on what's going on outside. That's pretty much forefront on your mind. I knew that I had a lot of spacewalks as I came into this mission. I didn't really know the hours or really pay attention to it that much. It's sort of just happenstance and time and place. But I know Peggy Whitson really well. I respect her a whole lot, and to actually surpass her in anything is just amazing. So that's a pretty awesome honor to have that.
It's possible the astronauts may have wanted to return to Earth earlier, but they never said so. They said they wanted to do their job as part of Expedition 72, and since they were astronauts, they enjoyed being in space and on the ISS. Williams even got to break the spacewalk record for women as part of Expedition 72. Didn't Butch Wilmore's daughter say that politics prevented SpaceX from getting her dad back sooner? Butch Wilmore's daughter did say that there were some politics involved. But listen to this clip about the main facts she points out.
It's just something's been frustrating. It's less the fact that he's up there sometimes, it's more the fact of why. There's a lot of politics, there's a lot of things that I'm not at liberty to say and that I don't know fully about. But there's been issues, there's been negligence, and that's the reason why this has just kept getting delayed. They were supposed to come back at the end of this month, but weren't able to because the next rocket that's supposed to go up to take everyone's up their place was having issues. So it's just been issue after issue after issue.
So when talking about politics in this clip, she says her dad was supposed to come back at the end of the month, which would have been earlier in 2025, possibly late February if Crew 10 could arrive to relieve Crew 9 then. But she says that the next rocket that was supposed to go up was having issues, and that was the SpaceX rocket. Here's what Grok AI says when researching the topic. The next rocket was supposed to carry Crew 10 in a new Dragon capsule C-213, but SpaceX had issues getting it ready in time. So instead of using the new capsule, Crew 10 used an existing Dragon capsule named Endurance, which had already proven itself in spaceflight. It seems that in this context, Wilmore's daughter's comment on politics was about being pressured to not say that SpaceX itself may also have been responsible for some of the delays. Ultimately, it seems that Wilmore's daughter feels politics is not the major factor here. She agrees that this isn't due to Trump or Biden. It's really about space stuff being difficult, as she notes in this post. Did Musk and Trump do anything differently to get the astronauts back sooner? Here's what Trump said.
Biden left him up there.
And what do you know about that?
I know everything about it. I said, we have 2 astronauts that are stuck in space. I have asked Elon, I said, do me a favor, can you get him out? He said, yes, he is preparing to go up, I think, in 2 weeks.
But NASA already made the announcement to return the astronauts in the February to March 2025 timeframe on the SpaceX Dragon back in August 2024, well before Trump became president. Notably, astronaut Andreas Mogensen disagreed with Elon Musk's claims on X and talked about how the plan was already set. Here's what NASA said at the press conference after the astronauts returned about the plan.
Relative to the mission planning, I think what we did was we tried to look for opportunities to bring the crew back when it was safe to do so. And, we always had a lifeboat, a way for them to come home, all the way back to Starliner. If you remember during the Starliner crewed flight test mission, we said if there were an emergency during part of that mission, we considered the thrusters, the service module thrusters, good enough to bring the crew back then. We then transitioned to the Crew 8 vehicle for a temporary time frame until Crew 9 arrived. So we always had a way to get the crew home safely should we need to. And then it really became, when is the right time? When is the right time to bring them back? And then when we had to swap over Dragon capsules from the new vehicle, which wasn't quite ready, we moved to Capsule 210. We figured this March timeframe was the timeframe to execute this direct handover that we just did. So for me, it's been the normal kind of planning I do all the time, looking at all the options, working with SpaceX, working with the space station program, and finding the right time to bring the crew back.
After NASA had already made the decision in August 2024 to return the astronauts on the SpaceX Dragon in the February to March 2025 timeframe, Musk and Trump did not cause any significant changes in plans. Were there reasons not to bring the astronauts back sooner? Even if it were possible for SpaceX or the Russians' Soyuz to create an entirely new mission to bring the astronauts back sooner, it wouldn't have made sense financially or logistically. A new mission is estimated to cost NASA between $140 and $210 million. And logistically, the ISS needed more team members for Expedition 72. Any new mission would have been too tight. Suits, rockets, and docking slots take time. There were significant financial and logistical reasons not to bring the astronauts back sooner. Elon Musk and SpaceX deserve huge props. Pioneering reusable spacecraft, and SpaceX is currently the only way Americans launch and retrieve astronauts from the space station. But Musk and Trump's claims of rushing to save Wilmore and Williams, abandoned by Biden for political gain? False. No evidence backs them, just Musk's word, no specifics. Logistical and financial hurdles, like a $200 million cost, no spare Dragon, and Expedition 72's mission needs, locked in NASA's plan back in 2024. Musk and Trump are taking a political jab at Biden for points, claiming undue credit. But what's your take? Drop it in the comments.